Hey there, everyone. Hanyu here. I just wanted to insert this little segment into the podcast episode because unfortunately it did get cut off a little bit. Basically, what we're talking about here is Microsoft and Sony made a deal this last week about them sharing technology and information regarding streaming services and other such things. So they also made a deal that moving forward, both Microsoft and Sony will be using the Microsoft Azure platform to develop new and improve existing streaming services. We're not sure how that'll affect PlayStation Now yet, but yeah, that's the gist of what you're missing from the beginning of the show. And I do apologize that it got cut off. That being said, enjoy the show.
I'm just wondering how soon are we going to feel the ramifications of this? Is this going?
This is probably something we'll not be seeing until probably next year, if I had to guess. It's probably going to be something that they're building into their new consoles and stuff like that. If this is the case, we won't see them when those new consoles launch, which we've talked about previously on past podcasts. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's something that we'll see probably next year.
No, it's like I just want to bang the table, and it's like, does this mean crossplay? Crossplay.
What does this mean?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Sony's kind of been relaxing that though recently, anyway. So if I had to guess, we're probably going to see a lot more crossplay stuff next generation when the whole board is cleared and everybody's starting from zero again. Because that's one of the things that'll probably convince a lot of people that were with Sony this gen to stay with Sony next gen. You know, it kind of makes sense. Aside from the whole everything's backwards compatible again. It's funny, like, PlayStation 2 was backwards compatible, PlayStation 3 was not backwards compatible, PlayStation 4 kind of got backwards compatibility through PlayStation Now, but that's a streaming service you have to pay for. Then you have stuff like the original Xbox, then the Xbox 360 was not backwards compatible until near the middle end of its life cycle, and then the Xbox One is now fully backwards compatible all the way back to the original Xbox with certain things. So it's like the weird generational thing going on here with this.
The titles that are backwards compatible on Xbox One, the 360 games that are backwards compatible on Xbox One, they're only ones that you can purchase in the store. There has to be like a way to purchase them.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you could have a disc, you put the disc in, it kind of registers that you have that game, and then you're like actually playing something that was downloaded from the store. That's what you're actually playing. You're not like installing the freaking game off the disc. I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
Which makes sense considering that a lot of the OG Xbox games and 360 games are available on the Microsoft Store on the Xbox, and also there's a bunch of them available through Xbox's streaming cloud. Well, I don't really want to say cloud service because they have their own cloud service, which I'm going to mention briefly here in a second. But through Game Pass, basically, is what I was getting at.
You know, I'm kind of bugged. I know that Microsoft has done a lot with backwards compatibility, certainly more than PlayStation has. Microsoft has made a bigger effort on Xbox One for backwards compatibility this generation than really anyone else. But I don't know. There's just, I think towards the end of when I was still kind of buying stuff for 360, I snagged a Lollipop Chainsaw, and I never really played it. And it's
it's a Suda 51 game, and that's pretty much all you need to know about that.
And it's like, if it was available, I just wish they would add it to
Suda 51.
I think it is too. If they add it to if they make it available to download on the Microsoft Store, it would it would essentially that's basically saying that it's going to have backwards compatibility too, and I don't know, that's just a game that I got, but I didn't really play. But I'd probably try playing it, if they added that to backwards compatibility. But kind of a strange game. I mean, they did it for Catherine, but I guess Catherine has like some adult themes in that, and Lollipop Chainsaw is like a
Catherine is literally a story about adultery. So
and that has backwards compatibility. Lollipop Chainsaw. From what I saw, what Lollipop Chainsaw looked like, it looked like Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Dead Rising.
Kind of is, but
you're not wrong.
Yeah, you're not wrong with that. It kind of is. And she carries the dismembered head of her boyfriend on her hip because he got bitten and started to turn. So she cut off his head, and now carries him around on her hip.
True love story.
Still a better love story than Twilight.
Oh.
And it is voiced by Tara Strong, very famous voice actress.
One of my favorite voice actresses. And the voice actress of many kids' childhood, dating from modern time, from like right now, present day, all the way back to the 90s.
Yo, man, Tara Strong, she did voices for the Beetlejuice cartoon in the early 90s. I can't believe that when I found that out. She must have been like 16, 17.
Like
or
I
something.
said, she's been doing it for a while, and she's been rocking it ever since.
She did Claire Brewster, that kind of villain, mean girl bitch on the Beetlejuice cartoon with the Valley Girl voice. She did that like Lydia.
She's also the voice of Raven from Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go, the voice of Timmy Turner from Fairly Odd Parents. Most kids nowadays, mostly girls, would recognize her from she's Twilight Sparkle on the My Little Pony series, and her list is like a mile and a half long of the stuff that she's done.
Oh, she's done Harley Quinn in some of the Batman.
Oh yeah, she's also the voice of Harley Quinn. Anyway, going back to what we were originally talking about. Partnership was only just announced, as we mentioned, so we're not going to see anything for a while. The mention of Microsoft's cloud solutions in gaming comes just as Microsoft is planning its own streaming platform, xCloud, which will be competing directly with Google Stadia. And we don't know how this deal is going to affect PlayStation's current streaming platform, PlayStation Now, but I'm guessing we're going to see either a rework of that, or they're just going to scrap it for this next generation and just do something completely new from the ground up.
Google Stadia is this giant threat to console gaming and PC gaming as we know it. Like this is like such a big X factor. Like we don't if they get the latency.
We
down,
really don't know. It is the wild card. It is the X factor right now. We just have no idea how it's going to be. I mean, it's Google. Google has a tendency of doing things well, but then they also have a tendency of abandoning projects after a few months and moving on to something else. Anybody here remember Google Fi or whatever it was when they were doing their own internet service? They installed it
Google Fiber.
Yeah, Google Fiber.
Google Fiber. I remember that.
They installed it. It was gigabit internet. It was the first gigabit internet in the United States, and it forced Comcast and Time Warner to update their infrastructure to be able to have their own gigabit internet. But they ended up doing it, and they ended up gouging the ever living shit out of people who wanted it. So not only was Google Fiber hella cheaper, like ridiculously cheap, but it was also like faster, more reliable, and just downright better. And then they stopped announcing new cities that were getting it, and then that was it. We haven't heard from it since. They said they were going back to the drawing board to make it better, And it's been, what, 4 years now?
Okay, so it's still a thing, and it's only in, like, Kansas. But, like, why would they only put it in Kansas if they're still using it?
It was a test market.
So they just, like, plopped it in one spot and just never...
They brought it to like 5 or 6 cities overall, I think. Middle America, and yeah, and then they just stopped. And they're like, we're going back to the drawing board to see if we can make this better, and then we never heard from it again. That's what a lot of people think is going to happen with Google Stadia. It's just going to be another Google Vaporware thing. Like, they're going to do it, it's going to be great, and then it's just going to disappear.
Oh, that would be sad.
Because it's Google's track record with their experimental projects, you know?
Well, I guess you can't win them all. Know what you're
The problem is they do win, and then they just like, okay, we got this, we're done.
I don't know, I just want to make excuses for them.
You know, what Google was doing with Google Fiber, it's like, for Google, you know, is a company, they want their profits and stuff, but they saw that as some sort of loss leader. I mean, at least the way that they were charging it, right? Because if they were charging such good rates, it was like, I don't think that they were really trying to make like a big profit off of that business.
What a lot of people think they were trying to do is force the existing cable companies to upgrade their internet infrastructure, their broadband infrastructure.
Yeah.
And it happened. They did it. They got them to they basically forced them to
just a
do it.
Little kick in the pants catalyst to get something going. I just kind of wish there was a bit more government intervention on promoting like infrastructure, and that if that government money went to companies to get that stuff rolled out, it wouldn't just get pocketed by the people running the company.
But I mean, when you think about it, it worked though, because now most internet companies offer gigabit internet speeds. Verizon Fios now has gigabit internet. Comcast now has gigabit internet. RCM offers gigabit internet. Time Warner offers gigabit internet. Like, it gave them the kick in the pants they needed. Like, hey, if you don't do this, we're going to come in and we're going to do it better. You know?
I saw some stat, and it said that like 70-something% of I forgot if it was like the population or just the territories in the United States, they only have one choice in an internet service provider.
We're gonna get back to that a little later tonight, because that's actually something we're going to be talking about in science news. So,
okay.
So I'm going to move on to Netflix, which is weird because it's gaming news, right? So Netflix reached out to E3 via Twitter, and they said, getting hype for E3 2019. Hey E3, can we get an invite? To which E3 responded, sure, just hang on. Do you guys have something you want to talk about? To which Netflix, I'm just going to go back and forth. Netflix definitely want to hang out, but we also have some gaming news in the works we can talk about. How about a panel? E3, I think we can squeeze you in. What's the panel called? Netflix. How about bringing your favorite shows to life, developing Netflix originals into video games? E3, sounds great. When can we get a hint about the games? Netflix, of course. Of course there's the upcoming Stranger Things game, but there's definitely more to come. E3, cool, can't wait. We'll keep checking in with you guys for updates, and yeah, that's it. That's the extent of it.
Have an Orange is the New Black dating sim.
Oh my god.
Have
I didn't know I needed.
House of Cards espionage thing, maybe?
Yes.
Or just a political game with House of Cards?
Hey, aren't they they're gonna have a Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego, right? So they could like make a new Carmen Sandiego.
Dude, how long has it been since there was another Carmen Sandiego game?
Dude, I don't know.
I don't know.
That
probably
is
like
years.
1994. I don't know,
Yeah.
something like that.
I'd say more late 90s, early 2000s.
I'd
But
ballpark
it's
like
like-
97 maybe.
It's definitely been a long time, and that would be interesting because that was an edutainment game, and it was actually one of the really good ones. You know, like they taught you geography, they taught you about
History.
places where you went. Like, say you went to Rome, they taught you like about the Colosseum, the Duomo, and the Vatican and stuff like that. They taught you about the places where you were going. They taught you history. They taught you geography. And they made it easy to digest while at the same time making it fun because it's a mystery game that just so happens to be related to history and geography.
Man, I would just love to play like one of those games again and just smoke it, because I just know like whenever I played it, last time I played a Carmen Sandiego game, I was probably like 9-10 years old, and it was like, I mean, I'm didn't know shit back then. It's like now it would just be so much fun to play.
I think
that.
the
It's
last
like I know
time-
everything.
The last time I played it, it was we had it on our 4th grade computers in the computer lab or whatever, and we'd play educational games like Math Blasters, Zumbinis, like Carmen Sandiego and stuff like that every now and then.
That was the best.
Good
Oh,
memories.
Yeah. We had those super old Macintoshes that were like different colors. I get the blue one.
Well, if you want to talk about that's even older. Like that's yeah. The one I'm talking about is like, yeah, this is late 90s, because it was after I moved to California.
The color-coded Macs, those came out after Steve Jobs came back to work for Apple. That was like in the late 90s. That's kind of like how I kind of remember when he came back. They had like like I said, the color-coded, here's the orange one, the blue one.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being in middle school, and like my 7th grade pre-algebra teacher had like a blue iMac. It was like
Oregon Trail's another one.
Amazon Trail. It was an Amazon Trail.
I never heard of that.
Well, I think I've heard of Zumbinis. I don't know what the hell that is, but you just said Zumbini. That sounds funny. I don't know what that is.
They were like they were weird. They were like little blueberries, basically. Is the best description I can think of how they looked. Let's move on to the next part, which would be your segment for gaming. I believe you wish to talk about the recent Nintendo Direct.
Yeah. I was going to say, on the late 90s, I remember Pokemon and Beanie Babies. I don't know what Beanies are.
Like I said, it was an entertainment game, like Carmen Sandiego and Math Blasters and stuff.
All right, Nintendo news. There was a Nintendo Direct stream this week featuring Super Mario Maker 2. Super Mario Maker 2 will be released June 28th for Nintendo Switch. From what I've gathered, there was around a 30% adoption rate for Super Mario Maker 1 on Wii U. So if we were to scale that up, at that rate, Super Mario Maker 2 should be selling well over 11 million with the large Switch install base, which is now at over 35 million. Super Mario Maker 2 is projected to garner an amount of views on YouTube higher than any individual Call of Duty game, and could possibly pass Five Nights at Freddy's, which, if you look at some of the data on how well the first Super Mario Maker did, like I said, if it scales up, it's possible. Okay, now about Super Mario Maker. Let's get back to what Super Mario Maker is. Okay. Basically, it's a level creator where people make and upload Mario levels. People play on them. People share them. Levels come in 4 styles, just like the first one. in Super Mario Maker 2, it's going to come in actually 5 styles, but we'll get to the 5th one. The four styles that are returning are Super Mario Brothers, so that's from 1985, classic Super Mario Brothers, and then there's Super Mario Brothers 3, that's like 89, 90.
So these are the things that they're adding to the existing stuff?
No, these are ones that are returning. Okay, so the style of being able to creating a level, Super Mario Brothers 1, 3, World, and Super Mario Wii U, those are returning.
Because I remember, like when the first one launched, there was a lot of outcry, like there's stuff missing, like you can't do certain things, and there were a lot of people complaining that there was just stuff that they were able to do already in ROM hacks, for example. Like, say, the impossible level that I'm sure everybody knows, like the really, really, really difficult one, that Super Mario Rage, that whole video was based around it, or something like that.
I think I've heard of, some of those impossible ROM hacks. Look, I'm just an advocate for what, Nintendo putting something like a Mario Maker out. I mean, after they did that, there were calls of, is there going to be a Sonic one? Is there going to be a Mega Man one? Is there going to be a Castlevania one? And I don't know if any of that's ever going to happen, but, they've made a Mario one, they're making a sequel, and I am just not, there's been ROM hacks for a long time, but, Nintendo is officially doing their own thing in their own, style of, their own IP, so it's, give them liberty to do it however they want. But, okay, the different styles incorporate different mechanics, such as Super Mario World having the spin jump that breaks through brick blocks and bounces off of tough enemies. And the Wii U style comes with wall kicks and air stalls in a 2.5D space. Different styles come with different assets that go to customizing the levels. My experience in Super Mario Maker 1 was mainly doing the 100 Mario Challenge to unlock skins for Super Mario Bros. 1 Mushroom Transformations. Now, the 100 Mario Challenge, that was when it's a game mode where you start off with 100 lives and you have to complete, I want to say, 8 or 10 levels. And you're only limited to those 100 lives, plus if you got any one-ups on the levels, or if you got 100 coins, that would add to your lives. And 10 levels, 100 lives, that sounds pretty easy, right? But
something tells me it wasn't.
Negative.
Well,
I will say this, that I did like one of the features from the original Super Mario Maker was they had you run your own course, and if you didn't, if you were unable to complete your own course, you weren't allowed to publish it.
Hell yeah, and it's weird. There are I think I'm going to get to this in here. There were just these trap levels where it would just start and you would just instantly die, and it just seemed like somebody just cheated or hacked this thing into the game. How the hell are you even you would just get killed by a thwomp, thwomps all around you. How the hell do I escape this and not die? There were a lot of uploads, people just making these trolly freaking courses to put them up there just to piss you off, so you'd have to skip them unless you knew how to pass them. And I wish I could have. There's probably some guide out on YouTube saying if you encounter this bullshit, this is what you're supposed to do, because there were probably just some common traps that would happen.
But that's one of the features that I did like, and I do applaud Nintendo for that. That way, you can't just upload something that is actually impossible. There are ways of beating it, even if you don't immediately see it. Even if it's near death, blink and you miss it timing, there are ways of beating it, because the person who made it had to beat it for it to get posted.
Man, okay, you could make the most impossibly broken level imaginable. Like, just no way you would be able to get through it. And then somewhere hidden on the screen, there could be like a power star that you could get, and then you could just like run through everything and clear it. But it'd be in a hidden block, or a hidden block that has like a beanstalk that takes you up to the top of the level, and then you can just like run across the whole level and clear it. But it's like, if you don't know about the hidden block, it would just be impossible and stupid. And if you get to a level like that, you just have to skip it. And something that I used to do is, if I got to a map like that, I'm going to call them maps sometimes, or stage, and I was like, what the F what was I supposed to do? Something that you could do is you could go to your recently played games, maps that you've played on, and you could download them, and you could go into the creator mode on a downloaded map, and you could like examine, like, okay,
like find out just exactly how they did it.
You could gain clues, really, and usually it was always just some kind of invisible block off somewhere hidden, and then if you hit that, it was like God mode, pretty much, to clear it. My experience in Super Mario Maker, as a creator, I created 3 or 4 levels. All of them had a 5% or lower completion rate, which is on the low side, definitely. It had a 5% or lower completion rate from the community, so they would be in the hard or expert category. And also, I didn't really get into what 100 Mario Challenge was. So yeah, you start off with 100 lives, and then there's I want to say 8 or 10 levels that you would go through, and you have all those lives. And these are levels you've never played before, so you don't know where anything is exactly, but you just figure, okay, you're on the left, you just got to move to the right, go from left to right, and there could be traps or pitfalls, and then also based on of how people were playing the levels, they get dropped into different difficulty categories. So if a level winds up having a completion rate, I want to say over 30%, that might be in like the easy or normal difficulty. And when you did Super Mario Challenge, the 100 live challenge, you get to choose your difficulty range. So you could do the easy, the normal, the hard, or the expert. And then they ended up adding a super expert, which was like, I think you only had to clear like 4 levels, but they were like just almost broken, like 1% or less completion.
And that's where you get like stuff like Super Mario Rage.
Oh man, I'm really not one to yell when I play like fucking single player games, but dude, like something. Oh man, nothing like Super. I mean, that's really one of the best games on Wii U. But dude, some of those levels, people made some busted ass levels.
People be like, I am going to fuck these people over so hard.
Yeah,
while they're building
time.
it.
Yeah.
And there's so much you can take, right? And the thing is, I enjoyed playing the normal and the hard category, but the expert and the super expert, I didn't like that. But eventually, when I was trying to unlock these skins, you had to complete the 100 Mario Challenge on super expert. And it was like, I couldn't unlock all the skins because I didn't have the patience or the willpower to go to complete, I don't know how many of these 1% or less completion rated ones, like some nasty ones. Okay, so the meat and potatoes of the game for me was playing other people's creations, because I only made 3 or 4. There are some people that make dozens of them, and they actually like making them more than playing others. But I'm less of an artist, and I just want to play other people's games, so that's how I experienced.
That's fair. That's one of the reasons why people buy the game, and I'm sure there's a large majority of the people who bought the game never even went into the creator.
Yeah, very much so. There's probably people that bought the game and they never connected their Wii to the internet, and they just played whatever was limited to on the disc, which would be pretty lame, but there are probably some people that did that. And I like this. I always say this when I describe Super Mario Maker. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet of custom Mario levels as long as you have an internet connection. Because that's what it really comes down to.
Kind of sounds like Little Big Planet.
Yeah, very, very much so. It's based off of user-generated content, so there's tons and tons of stuff. If everybody made just like 1 or 2 levels and they uploaded it, you got millions of levels up there. You know, I mean, it's crowdsourcing content for a game, man. That's what it is.
It really is.
Okay, so I already brought up some of this stuff, but I'll say it again. Okay, big disclaimer about Mario Maker gameplay. Some levels are designed to insta-kill you with some potentially unknown tricks to overcome within 1 or 2 seconds of starting it, which no doubt will carry over into Super Mario Maker 2. That's why there's a skip option in the game at any time during user-created levels. Don't get trolled, just skip them. On the other hand, if these levels have a high completion rate, it could be an autoplay level where you don't press anything to get to the finish. It's usually hinted at in the title. And that's the thing. There were some levels that people made where you just don't press anything and you just put the controller down and then like a spring will just shoot out of a pipe, hit you in the butt, and you will just be off of the races on all these tracks going around, setting off like sound effects, and maybe it'll play like a song. They'll play like the Imperial March or something, or the Star Wars theme.
A former collaborator of mine, known Kenchi, for those of you who are aware of my channel on YouTube, he said he made a track where basically you just hold right, and that's all you do. It'll look like you're gonna die multiple times, but just hold right. Don't jump. Don't do anything else. Just hold right, and that's all you need to do.
I typically don't really like those. There was just one in particular, and I should have saved it. But it was just like the dankest. Like they just tried to put as many like potential like they just tried to meme the hell out of a course, like the best they could with what was available. And I sent that guy a message of like how impressed I was with his level, and he's just like, just keeping the dank alive or whatever he said. It was just like it was like awesome. I mean, you were like doing stuff like backwards, going all over the place. It was like really wild.
So you brought up what's coming back from the first game. What's new in this one?
Well, hey, that's what my next paragraph is. Now about the changes coming to Mario Maker 2. First off, there's going to be a new style of level to create based off of Super Mario 3D World. Nintendo is saying that the 3D World style has aesthetics that can't be converted to other styles, so levels built that way have to stay that way. Some of these unique assets include clear pipes, boxes that float on lava, mushroom trampolines, and enemies like the piranha plant creeper and charvargs. I know it's this lava snake monster. I don't know how to say that, but piranha plant creeper. I think it's like a piranha plant that would come out of the pipe and it like chases you around. I think that's what a piranha plant creeper is.
Never played Super Mario World 3D, so wouldn't know.
There's a lot to list when it comes to new course making tools. Let me run down some. Okay, there's going to be slopes, vertical levels and scrolling, custom scrolling, level objectives, radial item select when you're putting the levels together, on and off blocks and switches, giant coin bundles. So instead of just getting like one coin at a time, there'll be like these giant coins that are worth like 10, 30, maybe 50.
That sounds like it's something from the new Super Mario Brothers.
Like on the handhelds.
Yeah, like that. I remember there being like big giant coins and stuff like that, and there were also like mushrooms that would make you grow like super size, and you could just basically walk through the level, destroying everything as you want. Yeah.
All right, so the giant coin bundles, seesaws, variable water levels. So a variable water level would be like you could choose. Before, it was either a water level or not at all. Now you can have it so like the water is like at a certain level of the stage, or it rises up and down. You could like change the settings on that, etc. There's much more. There's much more to say, but we got to move on. They're adding plenty more stuff. Okay, there will be more than 100 original Nintendo courses built into Super Mario Maker 2 that will be a part of the single-player story mode where you complete them as jobs to gather coins to pay for the reconstruction of Princess Peach's castle. Apparently it got destroyed, so it's got to get rebuilt.
There's always something going on with Peach and Mushroom Kingdom Castle and stuff like that. Got to shoehorn that in there somewhere, right?
Putting some kind of narrative to it. Okay, Super Mario Maker 1 did have some courses on disc, not requiring an internet connection to play, but this time there looks to be more of them with a narrative driving progress. So it's like you complete the courses, you get coins, and then you build add-ons to the castle. I almost want to say it reminds me of Rogue Legacy. If you've ever played that, it's like a roguelike game where you get money and you unlock like your skill tree, and it kind of reminded me of that when I saw it a little bit. Okay, you get a profile showcasing your activity in the game called a Maker profile. It has tabs for your uploaded courses, liked courses, and played courses. Now, some of that was already in the first one, but let me go on. Uploaded would be ones you've created and shared, so there you could review stats and feedback from your own work. There's analytics to your uploads. Liked courses would be a highlighted history of ones you've given a thumbs up to or starred, which you might want to revisit again, potentially to save locally onto your Switch. So like any game you play online, any course, you could download and save it onto your SD card or locally, however you save your data on your Switch. That's something that's really cool about Mario Maker. So you can, it's almost like for keeps, you can like collect courses. Played courses would just be a general history of what you've come across lately. As people give likes to your uploaded courses, you earn Maker points. There's also an avatar you can customize with different gear that's earned by completing various objectives. No word on microtransactions from the Direct. Don't want any of that.
Were there any in the first one?
I don't believe so. I don't think there are any microtransactions. If there were, they flew over my head. And they did updates though. They added some creator tools.
Well, that's good at the very least.
Yeah, and I would expect they might add some other stuff from feedback. They might, and I hope it's not shoehorned in. But when they did an update, adding stuff to the last one, worked out pretty well. Didn't hurt anything. Oh yeah, example in Super Mario Maker 1 when it shipped, there weren't any check mark flags at all. So it's like once you started it, you had to get to the end.
Ah, no checkpoints. That's interesting.
No checkpoints. And then later they patched it in so then new levels could potentially be more difficult without necessarily
forcing a restart
of the entire thing.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest thing they added that just comes off the top of my head when they added the checkpoint, check flags. Okay, I'm seeing claims that you'll need an active Nintendo Switch Online subscription to participate in the new course world. So you won't be able to download other people's custom courses even for
I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense. They're just trying to push their new online, well, newish. It's kind of been like what, a year now since it launched. They're trying to push their newish online service and stuff.
I want to say it came out last October or November.
So it's probably been like 6-7 months, but yeah. They're trying to get people into that and stuff.
I think the way that they rolled out their online service was
I just looked at the chat, Discord chat.
Okay, they wanted to kind of like for people to use it for a month or two, and then Smash Ultimate dropped, and that's really initially why I think a lot of people wanted to even get that in the first place, was to be able to play Smash Ultimate online. And I bet that's what most people probably use their that service for, is to play Smash Ultimate online.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. But yes, Okir, Nintendo has been fairly decent when it comes to microtransactions, at least as long as you don't look at their cell phone market.
True.
Let's see, I could name a couple like Pokemon Go, Pocket Camp. I'm trying to remember the name of the franchise. It's escaping me right now. Also Mario Runner. All of those have egregious microtransactions.
What kind of microtransactions are in Mario Runner?
They're all pay to win stuff.
Or something?
Like they're all pay to win stuff.
But isn't there like a lump sum, like isn't it like $10 or $15 just to get it, and then there's even more microtransactions like pay to win stuff on it?
Mario Maker's free. All these games are free.
No, not Mario.
I mean, not Mario Maker. The Runner is free, and well, actually, no. I think the Mario Runner is like $2. It's not $15.
I thought it was 10 or 15. Excuse me.
No,
I don't.
It might be. I don't.
Games.
But I don't think so. I think I remember it being like $1 or something like that if it wasn't free. It was cheap if it wasn't free. But yeah, they're all very egregious when it comes to microtransactions. But I will say that yes, Nintendo has been doing a really good job when it comes to keeping microtransactions off like their consoles and handhelds. For the most part, anyway.
Okay, so without the subscription, this game is going to be pretty dead. Okay, that's a given. Horse World is your hub access point to browse other people's creations. There's an enhanced search and tag system to fit the criteria you want to find. There's going to be online and competitive. There's going to be online competitive and cooperative multiplayer. Competitive is where your goal is to finish the course first and sabotage others along the way, and co-op is where everyone gets credit for a win. There's some evidence of there being local co-op or versus. There's some evidence of there being local co-op or versus on your created levels, but at this point it seems unclear. I saw a Game Explained video from within the last day or two, and they were making it sound like it's unclear on whether it's there's going to be like local.
Don't make excuses, Okir. Nintendo signs off on everything that goes into those projects, and they did make the Mario Runner themselves, and I think they also made Pocket Camp themselves. So don't make excuses for them.
All right. Also, at the end of the Direct, they announced that there's going to be a Super Mario Maker 2 Invitation event being held June 8th. This should be just like the previous Nintendo World Championships, with a focus just on Mario Maker 2. So I hope they invite somebody like John Numbers, who has been like a main attraction at these events. He's this guy who he's kind of like the wizard, so to speak. Like, he's been very successful at these Nintendo Championships. I think they've had 2 or 3 of them, and he's been a finalist or near finalist in like every one of them. So he's good at like just a whole range of Nintendo games, and he's able to perform like under pressure in front of like all these other people. So I'm sure there's like tons of people that are great at a whole range of Nintendo games, but can you actually get there, and can you play that well in front of that setting? It's like a whole other thing. It's a whole other
yeah. You want people that are capable of performing under pressure, I guess you want to say.
Okay, that's all I got for Nintendo.